Kinguin Pro League Day 2. I am your host, Noxious, and with me, Lothar. We have casted today 4 matches for the entire day, and now we are down to our last match, which is going to be Firebat versus Thjs. Two of the top, I think, two of the top players in the world at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. And both of them are in top 10 of Gosu Gamers rating, if I'm not mistaken. And so I'm really excited to see this match. I'm not exactly sure. I think it's the first time they actually meet each other in game.
In a tournament setting?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I haven't really paid attention. I mean, they must have played together at some point, maybe outside of tournaments. Or does Firebat play on?
Yeah, but on in a tournament setting, I think that's the first time they actually play against each other. So really looking forward to it. Firebat is kind of lacking tournament results lately, but you know, he's a great player. He won the BlizzCon World Championships last year, so yeah.
Yeah, got picked up by Team Archon, is now streaming quite a bit. We have so we have the lineups for the players. Thjs is playing Druid, Mage, Rogue. So this is kind of a standard lineup as we spoke, and you know, Druid and Mage being two of the most represented classes in the tournament. But now I see Rogue in his lineup instead of the usual Hunter that we would come to expect, and I like that decision. I think Rogue is probably favored enough against a wide array of classes outside of Control Warrior, but since that's not there, it's a really good pick.
And the interesting fact is that Thjs was not so comfortable with Rogue. Classes, he said that like a month ago that he's a really weak Rogue player and he trained a lot with that Rogue. So he must be feeling now confident with that class to bring it to a tournament, and I really like that he's improving as a player. So
yeah, that's really nice.
Definitely looking forward to his Rogue play here.
On the other hand, Firebat is also bringing a Druid to the lineup, a Paladin and a Warlock. So those two classes underrepresented in the tournament. Paladin and Warlock, maybe less underrepresented. I think Paladin and Control Warrior are equally underrepresented. The only class we just haven't seen at all, I think, is Priest.
Yeah,
that's what it is. I mean,
Priest. Yeah. But what's interesting is that I'd rather see Paladin in a tournament in a conquest setting than Warrior. Like, I feel Warrior is inferior in this environment. What do you think? Which one do you prefer, Paladin or Warrior?
I would play Paladin most of the time. I think the only good or amazing matchup for Warrior is probably something like an Oil Rogue, and it hasn't been dominant enough. I mean, since we're seeing more and more of them, to the point where Control Warrior might become a good choice for next week, because the league is ongoing. So next week, maybe players will be bringing Warrior to the table a bit more. But, you know, as long as Mage and Hunter are there with the Savannah High mains and Mech Mage's potential to snowball out of control, it's not necessarily a good pick. So in the first game that they're going to be picking, Firebat has opted to start with his Warlock. We don't know what type of Warlock it is. Could be mid-range Warlock, could be Handlock, could be Zoo for all we know. It's Firebat. I mean, he top decks the Doomguards all the time, so
yeah.
For all we know, it's Zoo. And Thjs uses Mage, probably Mech Mage, probably one of the best mid-range aggro decks to ever hit Hearthstone, actually, now that I think of it.
Yeah, definitely right. Yeah, definitely right. But well, we'll have to see how it resolves. I think Firebat, you don't see that, but we see the camps now. Firebat, I think it's a really late hour for him or so.
Okay, well, where is he actually?
Mode.
Yeah, he's always in sleep mode. He gets woken up for tournaments. He's sleeping, then you wake him up.
Really?
Yeah, you can call him Firebed if you want. it's kind of a nickname you can give him. He's always sleeping. You wake him up for a tournament. He's like, okay, yeah, sure, I'm gonna move on.
Firebed, okay.
Yeah, Firebed. That's a nice nickname. It helps me remember players and their quirks. Just giving them names like this, that's a thing. All right, so we're moving on to the game. So we see a possible, I'm going to say hand-locked, but then again, could be mid-range Warlock. These cards are not necessarily out of that specific roster, and in fact, Thjs is playing a Mech Mage.
Well, no surprise there with the Mage. But you're right, you're definitely right with the Firebat's card choices here. It can be either handlock or still the mid-range Warlock.
Your Jungle Panther is roaring.
That's the second one.
Okay, that's Stranglethorn Tiger.
It's white, so it's not a tiger. Yeah.
Mr. Bigglesworth.
Oh, so Kel'Thuzad is somewhere here around.
Lothar Kel'Thuzad confirmed. We now know. All right, so
Wow, did
the entire
Thjs
hand will
keep
be
the
mulligan.
did Thjs keep the Goblin Blast Mage, or was it a spectator bug?
Sometimes spectator mode doesn't mulligan it away, and if you redraw it with a mulligan, it keeps it. So that might be a spectator bug, but apparently handlock is brought by Firebat, so that could be if he manages to avoid the onslaught of Mech Warper, spam, this could be somewhat winnable. But I mean, Mirror Entity is going to force an answer here because you can't give them something good.
There's an Ancient Watcher.
I don't think it gets worse than this for Mirror Entity, does it?
Yeah. Well, maybe Zombie Chow is even worse. Still, a Mirror Entity being drawn is awful for Thjs here.
Well, the good thing is if the first one whiffs because of a Washer, I guess you could have a second one as an immediate follow-up. Never mind, we haven't.
Yeah.
So I think
Denied.
this is not gonna work out. Whoa. Okay, no Mirror Entity play. I guess he's just gonna feed him some kind of BGH. It's possible. I mean, there are many targets that are just terrible, but Watcher is still.
Second Watcher, but I think his plan is to drop 2 Watchers and then taunt it up next turn.
You know what I like about this Watcher is that it actually tanks a lot of the Blast Mage hits, and it threatens a Shadow Flame if the Blast Mage were to be played without killing the Watcher.
Yeah, that's the problem here for Thjs. Like, he can't really play around Shadow Flame, so I think playing the Goblin Blast Mage is correct here, because otherwise you will have to sacrifice some creatures. So if you play Goblin Blast Mage and it hits 3 times the Watcher, then it's like understandable to.
Well, okay, it's actually.
Yeah, you can do this.
This is crazy. Well, I can almost certify you that the second Watcher is coming down here.
Second Watcher and taunt.
I'm gonna take a bet on that because I don't see why you wouldn't taunt it up at this point. But I guess there could be a justification. I just don't see why, because you're at least getting either the Blast Mage or the 2 mechs and something else. Okay, so Firebat keeps the
double Fireball. Now that's crucial. Now you get game plan. You go face.
I think you just play Mirror Entity and go face. Yeah, you Mirror Entity ping, you curve out pretty well. You could play Tinkertown, but why risk more Shadow Flame value? And then you just Fireball him down as soon as you feel you're comfortable with that.
I think when you have 2 Fireballs in your hand, you have to go all face with everything.
Yeah, I mean, Firebat will fall down to 12 health this turn. That's 10 damage output. And if he can't heal bot next turn, then you've got lethal within a very, very short amount of time. Sure, he can Molten Giant. But actually, you know what? That might be a consideration. I mean, you have to take that into consideration, obviously. But do you like to let him play a giant if you can't secure lethal? I mean, if I were on 7 mana and guaranteed to double Fireball, maybe I'd do it. Ooh. Yeah, I think this could be really interesting, but...
Aggressive play here. I like it. But it might be actually risky, because now...
wait, Molten...
I think Firebat will want to play the Sun Fury, but that means lethal for Thjs then, because of the second Fireball.
The only way here for Firebat not to die is for Thjs not to have a second Fireball. Because if he plays the heal bot, then he's saturated in mana, and his opponent wins right away. So he's gonna go for the the best possible play in the circumstances, but it's just not gonna be enough.
Yeah, double Fireball win. I bet the Twitch chat will be going crazy, like cancer.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is a pretty, I wouldn't say normal outcome, but it used to be that aggro decks, the way aggro mage used to work was basically a top deck war. I remember we saw, what's his name, the French player. Oh my god, I forgot his name.
Fishu?
Yes, the Fishy was playing aggro mage a long time ago, and he top decked, fireballs and frostbolts. This is one way that the deck wins, and yeah, when you get those and you're playing against handlock, it's probably for the best.
Yeah, it's very similar to Face Hunter. Like skill commands, yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Against handlock, it's a very important thing to have those direct damage to bypass the taunts. And the good thing is he established enough early game that he could afford using the fireballs to the face and not need them as removal in case big taunts came down.
Yeah, that was very important. Like, if he would draw that fireball as a top deck, an example, so he wouldn't know that he has two fireballs in his hand. I think the strategy of this game would be a lot different.
He wouldn't have expected to get the lethal for sure, and he would have played very differently. But knowing that he had to really made him change his line of play. So we know that Thjs played his mage. He's got Druid and Rogue left in his lineup. Which of these two is he going to be taking?
Well, we already see the game, so it's Druid versus Druid.
It's Druid versus Druid. That was pretty quick. So Druid versus Druid. That means Thjs went for Druid and Firebat decided to take his own Druid because I guess he felt it combated Druid and Rogue pretty well, but...
Yeah, and Firebat always gets his Wild Growth. Like, always. Oh, both of the players have Wild Growth. Okay.
Yeah, this is basically, if it's unfair for both players, it's fair for both players, right?
Depends. But they also have two Innervates. Like,
yeah.
You know.
Oh, man. Eternal Wild Growth Innervate Lothab?
Doesn't actually be bad.
Yeah, it's not too bad, but...
I think Thjs will go for it. No, that's
because I mean,
sorry, that's Firebat.
Yeah, that is Firebat. You might go for the because you could get two cards off of it. Like if he plays a Shade here, let's assume there's going to be a Wild Growth getting played here by Thjs.
Yeah,
pretty much mandatorily. And if a Shade comes down next turn and you innervated out Lothab, you're going to be getting a Zombie Chow and a Shade for your efforts because he can't play spells for removal. So I really do like that Innervate Lothab play. No removal can be used, no Wrath plus Zombie Chow. This has to be minions being played. Or you pass, which is excessively weak.
It's only a Shade of Extremis play, I think. Well, I think. There's nothing else you can do.
Yeah, I mean, he could have just not played it, but there's no reason not to. At this point, it's not like the enemy player can just unstealth it by force. So, what is this play going to be?
Well, Keeper doesn't seem to be nice, so I
like Wrath here.
Yeah, Wrath.
I mean, Wrath forces your opponent to use his Shade and something else, which means if he's got a 5-drop like Belcher, like Spectral Knight... Like
it all depends on the next draw from Thjs here. If it draws a Ancient Floor, an example, this would be an Innervate Ancient Floor and just ignore the low tip.
Yeah, of course, and that might actually put him way further ahead. The first one to play Ancient of Lore in those situations can often win. I mean, that Innervate Lothab was good for the mid-game, the early mid, but as far as... It's funny how I say mid-game, but it actually happened on turn 3.
Yeah.
Because of Innervate.
That Savage Roar is just awful for Thjs here.
Like, yeah, sacrificing a Shade and a Roar for this is... I mean, you could Wrath for card draw, I don't know, just... And trade your Shade next turn into Lothab. It's going to be a 4/4, but you're going to be taking another 5
I don't
damage.
think you can allow Lothab to attack twice.
Yeah, I don't think taking 10 damage from a 3-drop is really an option.
Well, I think you have to use the
Wrath and Shade instead of wasting the Roar. You still get, Sylvanas next turn, so whatever it is your opponent plays, you should be okay.
Well,
he actually did it for card draw. Thjs went for the card draw and takes 5.
That's very risky, but you know,
it might pay off. There's really nothing that Firebat can do besides keep her the Groving Face. But there's a force of nature.
That's not bad, definitely not bad. Now I think Thjs will play just a Palted Shredder to ensure that he will have something for the Savage Roar on upcoming turns.
If you Wild Growth, what do you really ramp out?
No, you don't want to run Wild Growth.
Yeah, you don't need the mana, but I'm thinking, does he run Cenarius? Does he run late game minions? Because if he does, there might be a good argument to be made to try to ramp up for that. It allows you to weave in your hero power for extra health.
Firebat draws a lucky minion here, so he's staying ahead on board still.
You play a Shredder, I play a Shredder. And he's got the Ancient of Lore though. This is gonna be the defining card, I think.
Yes, you're definitely right. Second
Oh,
innervate.
wow.
Oh wow.
This is horrible.
Yes, this is definitely horrible. Like 2 dead draws in a row.
I have no
I
time.
mean, the
Anything-
Shredder could do a bit of work here, depending on how things go. Depending on what ends up happening next. I mean, the Shredder, Sylvanas needs to be answered now. So, can Firebat really afford playing Ancient of Lore? If he sees...
Well, that's a Ancient of Lord turn, I think, but that it kind of puts you in a really weird spot when you can't. When,
Yeah, you
when
give him
basically
cards, you can't really do
give him a Paladin Shredder, so you can't really do this.
I think you just go full face here. That's it. You just go full face with everything you got.
So you don't have lethal next turn.
Oh, it doesn't matter. You're setting up for lethal with Force of Nature, Savage Roar, Hero Power next turn. So
Oh yeah, right. Forgot about the hero power.
yeah, this is something I've seen Firebat do a lot. Oh, wait.
Oh.
What? No.
No,
that
that's
doesn't
not.
work.
Yeah.
Well, he could armor up and live at least.
Yeah, he has to.
Actually, he lives. He does live. And if he finds another Savage Roar, this could...
He has to
That's a
sacrifice the
shame.
Sylvanas, take the drop from the Paladin Shredder. That's the first you have to do.
Yeah, the Shredder triggers first, so you want to get that extra body. If you trade your Murloc, you're losing damage on the combo.
Mm-hmm. So if you do that, then you hero power up.
Then
so
you top
have-
deck.
Yeah, and you top deck the second Savage Roar and win. Easy, right?
Druid life. Just hashtag Druid things, right? Just Druid things. I innervate out Dr. Boom. I mean, Savich got Cenarius on turn 4 earlier. That was pretty entertaining.
Free to
Alright.
minion, not bad.
It's high damage, which actually makes the deal a total of 5, possibly 7.
So Firebot will be at 28, right? 28. So
That is
Thijs
lethal
will have
if there is
14,
the combo. It is guaranteed lethal if there is the combo.
24 damage with just one Savage Roar. So he's still lacking. If you will get swipe, that's lethal too.
Yeah, actually it is. All he needs to find is a swipe or another
Yes.
Savage Roar. And
Scenarios.
you know what?
That's
This will
definitely not bad.
actually buy him time. And
Yeah.
he sets up lethal again with it.
Well,
He kind of
you can
trades
buff
his
your
own minions.
creatures.
You're afraid of combo though, aren't you? He
Well,
just drew
also
with
that.
Ancient. He might have had one piece. You probably don't want to give him another.
But combo is deadly anyway.
If you taunt up with Cenarius,
Yeah.
8.
Because you
Go
use
2,
face
4.
for
Yeah,
one.
you're still dead unless you innervate hero power,
Yeah, he will do that.
which he might do that. Actually, innervate Savage Roar is not even terrible, because you trade 1 minion away, like the
No,
double.
you can't use the Savage Roar, I think. If you want to win next turn and you have to win as soon as possible, you have to keep that Savage Roar. Now the question is, there's the combo.
Yeah, he's one off lethal because of the innervate hero power that Thijs did.
Mm-hmm.
The counter scenarios, though, might play a really big role here. So, honestly, I think this comes down to Thijs getting his second Savage Roar as a top deck.
Most likely, yes. Or this one.
He doesn't have
Well,
enough
no,
mana
okay.
to play it now. He used up the innervate for
Oh,
survival.
yeah, right.
Okay, another decent card. This taunt could actually help out. Or
Will
you could
it?
play it as a charge, but...
Well, you have to deal with the scenarios. So, maybe you just play Force of... Well, if Thijs is playing just one Force of Nature, and then he's in a really bad spot right now. He can't use the Force of Nature defensively to win the game. If he wants to win the game, I think.
It really depends on what he's playing in his deck. We've seen some builds with 2. I mean, you could just use Force of Nature defensively and keep your taunts. And I really don't dislike that too much.
So will he use...
You could even Savage Roar to kill Cenarius outright.
I think he will go for it.
If you wanted, you could do that. Yeah, I don't think it's even that bad of a play.
Will he use his face for clearing that? That will mean lethal next turn from the combo, right?
2 Treants plus... Actually, yeah, well... Yeah, this is over, I think.
Oh, too bad.
Unless we miscounted and he's got lethal, I don't see
No,
that
no.
viable. Yeah. So this, wait, no, don't innervate. You've already... Oh no, he hasn't hero powered yet. He's still out of range.
He's still dead. He's still dead.
8.
He's at 8.
Yeah, he's
So-
dead at 8. He's exactly where he didn't want to be 1 turn ago. So Firebat's gonna see this opportunity as an obvious lethal and just force a Nature Savage or get the win. All right, this was actually a surprisingly close game despite the fast ramp that Firebat did get.
Yeah.
If you look at this, this could have gone like a swipe. There were about 4 outs, maybe 3 outs left in the Thjs deck on that crucial
2 swipes,
deck turn.
2 swipes and a Savage Roar. That was it. So like 3 to 18, I think.
So 3 to 18. It wasn't an excessively high amount, but it's still not too bad. I mean, you're looking at 16.66% of your deck.
So definitely an exciting game. Well, so it's 1-1 now.
In the series, so
And-
they have at least 2 more games to go.
And Firebat locked his Druid, so he's left with Paladin and Warlock, which are both classes are really good at countering Mage, which is
Already
locked from Thjs, and Thjs is left with Druid and Rogue, and both of those classes I think are really good with Warlock. Well, okay, Rogue depends.
I was gonna say
Overall,
Rogue is
depends, yeah.
kind of a coin flip against Handlock, but you're
Yeah.
right.
And then the Paladin. Well, Rogue is really great against the Paladin, and Druid is not so bad to be honest.
I think against Druid against Paladin, the upside to that matchup is that if you rush them down fast enough and they're struggling for removal, before they can actually stabilize and heal massively with Lay on Hands or an antique heal bot, if you manage to whittle them down and force them to use True Silver on your 4 attack minions, you can usually burst them down. Because Paladins can get pretty low and then just swing back up as far as health goes, but sometimes Druid can deny that.
Yeah, the Peacekeeper is a really big problem for Druid player, but still, it kind of leaves the creature open for the Savage Roar.
Yep, exactly. You just want the body as a Druid very often in the late game. You want to just make sure that you have, sure you can hit for 14 with 2 cards, which is totally balanced, but because you've got that extra body, now all of a sudden you can do 17, you can 22, you can do 32. I've seen people overkill with that combo, so the more bodies on the board, the better off you are.
Yeah, you're right. So we have the classes for the third game, sorry. Firebat will go with the Paladin and Thjs with Druid.
Yeah, so this is going to be the matchup we just spoke of. If Druid ends up getting if they get a ramp start, Paladin will struggle to catch up. If they have ramp start with decent minions, Aldor Peacekeepers become nearly mandatory.
Yep, totally agree with that. So we'll have to see how this matchup will end up.
All right, so
So
I know
about the
Thjs is a very good Druid player. That's one thing I know about him. He is one of the decks he feels most comfortable with. So all right, well he goes in and gets his Wild Growth, so definitely not doing too bad.
Castle Mystic.
Firebat
Paladin.
decking, yeah, Mech Mage is out. That is so bad for him.
And no Hunter, also.
Wait,
Well,
this is a disgusting ramp hand, but I mean, if it's mostly good insofar as you see a Knife Juggler, but if there is no Knife Juggler, then suddenly it looks a little less powerful.
Unfortunately for Thjs, his hand is awkward. Like
It is passive, very, very
Yeah.
passive.
the keeper wants to be kept for Tyrion, and there's nothing else he can do. Oh,
Okay, this is the absolute worst. I think you even Wrath for Cycle at this point. This is so disgustingly awful. I mean, the hand is not bad. The potential of the hand is incredible. But
it's going for
besides
the
that,
keeper. Okay.
wow, this is playing to True Silver so hard.
Yeah,
and
I don't
Paladin
like it
Shredder-
at all.
Why?
Well, Shredder is kind of okayish, but True Silver Champion is super bad.
This was a real
Yeah.
weird move from Thjs. I guess he just wants to get something on the board to contest possibly a Paladin Shredder.
Nah, I didn't like it. Like, I would agree if Paladin Shredder would be played, because then you can wrap the Paladin Shredder and probably wrap the second,
Wrath the second, yeah.
or
exactly.
even trade for a 3-2 or 2-2 minion.
Well, Firebat has an incredible edge here. He's
Yeah, he
got
has answer
a
for
perfect
everything.
curve for the rest of the game. It's absolutely insane. He's got Sludge into Golem, into a possible piloted Shredder, into Hero Power, if necessary. Set up a turn 7 Quartermaster, even if one of the 1/1 recruits lives. Like, it's...
I would definitely like the Quartermaster being played as soon as possible against Druid.
Yep, force them to Wrath it. That's pretty... Wrath a 1/1, essentially. That's pretty godlike.
Really, Thjs got some awful draws.
I cannot believe this. He had an amazing wild growth, but no matter how comfortable you feel with a deck, sometimes the draws will just deny you. And what about that Sludge Belcher? How do you effectively deal with it?
You don't have a
Do you play
chance.
Shredder or do you play Belcher? Shredder is a lot more sticky unless you take the initiative. Oh wait.
I would definitely not play that.
Well, I mean, you're playing it to swipe, but if he doesn't have it, you stand to gain a lot from it. I think he's, as you said, he's sending a telegram right now. I've got a Quartermaster and I want to use it. And I think the reason Firebat's doing this is because it doesn't really matter whether they die or not. If they do get swiped, then too bad, but he still has amazing follow-ups.
But the problem with this is, like, when you pay attention to the cards being held in your opponent's hand, you know that he didn't use like four cards that he did draw, and he has already like 6 points of mana. So what can it be? Most
Swipe
likely
is in that
spells.
range.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you analyze your opponent's playstyle, you can probably deduce. Not deduct. Deduct is reduct, like when you remove something from something. Deduce that the opponent probably is holding on to spells, and in that case, I guess swipe becomes more likely. What is Thjs' consideration here? Is he trying to... He's thinking about...
You have to kill those creatures if you want to be safe, so I think Shade of Nexus is good.
I think what he's considering is Shade and Loatheb turn 8 to deny the Consecration. Because the moment Shade it hits the board, Consecration comes out right now. If he holds on to the Shade, then he can get it safe to safety with Loatheb. Well, unless Equality comes with it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's yeah.
That's an obvious Consecration.
So Paladin is back to full health, and it's turn 8.
He hasn't played Tyrion.
Oh, this feels awful. I mean, for
what about a terrible curve here? Do you have to Loatheb Innervate Shredder? I almost feel like...
Yeah, you have to.
This is otherwise there's really very few ways for you to maintain pressure. Alternatively, though, you could probably hope to use Innervate for the double combo, and all you need is one guy on the board at that point. And you can turn that 22 baseline damage into lethal.
Well, it has to be then a 6 attack minion, so it's not so easy to do.
It has to be 4 actually, because you get a +4 attack with double roar.
Oh yeah, sorry.
So I mean, if he top decks, if he gets what he needs, this is still
one
possible.
turn away.
Yeah, I mean Tyrion's gonna come down before that happens, so the dream is what it is, a dream.
Sludge Belcher. Well, this is a Sludge Belcher and Shredder turn, right?
This is actually a really big draw for the Druid. Gives him a lot of stability. If you look at Firebat's hand, he has an Equality to use, which resets his board. So if anything, I guess
kill this 2/5. I think you do, right?
What does it change actually? So trade.
Well, then
I think it's one less body that you have. Yeah.
Your little slime will live if you killed it to 5.
Yeah, but if you kill the 3/3,
I think
that might be the problem.
I think you rather kill the 2/5 because then the second consecration doesn't kill your loaded.
So pop the sludge and then consec.
Oh, he's going face.
Okay, he's setting up lethal for next turn. This is so obvious.
Quality.
This seems like a good Tyrion turn. Alternatively, you just drop Equality then sludge.
Yeah, I feel like Equality sludge is way
safer.
Way safer.
Mm-hmm. I would tend to agree with you there. Yeah, alright, back to 1 health for you little dudes. You had your time in the spotlight, but 1 health is what you're doomed for.
Hmm?
That must have been a misplay.
Yeah.
I think he might have meant to equality again.
Why would you? I think he
Just to kill the slime and everything else.
I think he just thought that.
But that was weird. That was really weird because he could have killed a shredder here, and now actually there is a lethal looming. Wait, 6. You got a total of 20 damage coming out. So
Yeah.
if he had found what he needed, this would have been very different.
This is Sylvanas turn for sure.
Yes, definitely. And now you can't play Tyrion on this now, can you? You have to sacrifice your shredder if you want to play Tyrion at all.
Belcher or Tyrion? Belcher and Piloted Shredder seems nice.
And then, well, you sacrifice your piloted first, and see what comes out of it.
2 Doomsayers.
A Pit Lord. The only thing that your opponent gets to you.
Oh!
This is a pain. Where's the Arcanized Soul Priest when you
No,
want it?
I mean this engine.
Yeah, this is a really, really clutch draw.
This is so lucky.
Doesn't even have to play any other taunts, but this is... This reminds me of the Kel'Thuzad, double Kel'Thuzad with Sneeds. This is kind of what this reminds me of. Just Thjs facing down a Shredder or a Golem or Sneeds and just getting punished for it. Ah, I like this. This is pretty cool. But
Well,
not cool enough.
he can kill his Sylvanas, but I don't think he wants to do this right now.
No, I mean it is a possible line of play, but the problem is the risk is pretty high, and you can just anyway force the opponent to give you value.
Mm-hmm. What
Kill
about
Sludge.
combos right now?
What if you silence?
Well, you have no not
Actually, I
enough mana
like
to-
that line of play. If you silence Sludge, attacks engine, kill the 1/1. This really does leave your Sylvanas open to get you a bit of value. This actually isn't too bad for him. He gets the board back. And, well, actually, he's got no more answer to Tyrion, but Tyrion can't be played as long as that Sylvanas is on the board. And honestly,
well, Sylvanas will not last long. It will be It will be given.
right now,
I
yeah.
mean, yeah. So most likely Belcher.
But that means...
First you pop the Divine Shield, then you Belcher. Into
Yeah, but that means
Sylvanas.
there's no taunts left. That means there are no taunts left for Thjs to wait for. He can just get any of those minions. That's 3 bodies that he has, and he has to go through Tyrion right now.
So
He's
if you
got
play
3
combo
bodies.
right now. How many points of damage do you have?
So you have to sacrifice one of your guys or your face, alternatively. Oh, wait.
Wait. How many points of damage is that? You sacrifice your head for the Divine Shield. Then you go with 2 creatures.
Mistress of Pain in a tree.
Yeah, and
That's
then you have 3 creatures left. So 4, 8, 12. Ah, not enough. So Dr. Boom.
Actually, Force of Nature. Ping the shield with... Actually, if you hero power on top of it... You actually get that extra 3. You get that extra 1 damage that rounds up to 6.
Isn't that just Dr. Boom better in this situation?
You haven't seen another consecration. The only thing is that you're giving him a chance to use his lay on hands. He's got like head to the shield, then 4/4 or 3/4, whatever it is. I still think it's just sacrificing the trees since there is no lethal.
Yeah.
He's still just sacrificing the trees, but that's a lot of damage, honestly. That's a crazy amount of damage.
So Swiperino is lethal if there will be no anti-heal bot.
Yeah, and based on what I'm looking at, like Firebat has to play heal bot. He
Yeah.
absolutely has to play heal bot. It's not even a question.
So Healbot and Piloted Shredder or
That seems like
equality?
the only line of play.
Do equality to kill 1 creature? No, I don't think so.
If you do, the problem is you don't get to play Shredder, but you're at least less vulnerable to Savage Roar. That's like the only upside, but I think it's not a play that you make to win the game. He considered it though, and now he's weak to Savage Roar, but that's what you get.
Scenarios, wow.
Wait,
so that's
is that?
no.
That's 1 off actually with Innervade.
Yeah. Thjs is like, oh, that didn't happen.
Yeah. So you probably expect him not to have consec because he would have probably played it. So I feel like you just Doctor Boom, Hero Power, go full face. I mean, if the boom bots explode, then whatever, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't really
I
matter.
agree with you. First Dr. Boom, then your scenarios, because scenarios can also have value when you pump your minions and you spam more minions with Dr. Boom.
Yeah, and if those stick around, like if he doesn't kill the heal bots because he's afraid they explode, then they just get benefits from.
The one thing that he might
scenarios.
consider is the fact that that Firebat can have a big game hunter, and scenarios is not vulnerable to that.
Yeah, but the boom bots, like immediate upside, I think
Yeah.
is counterpointing that specific weakness.
Boombots almost have a charge, so I think that's the scenarios.
They're actually crazy value minions on their own.
Yeah.
I think if there were one drops in the game that did that, people would play 2 of them in every deck.
I agree with you. Oh!
This has got to be a joke. Do you know how this could actually? So the shredder's gonna pop first,
Yeah, so...
and then the
might-
bombs will explode.
Yes.
This is
It might be
RNG stone.
lethal. It might be lethal this turn.
There's a
This is-
chance, but they have to roll high
Okay.
and not hit the shredder minion. Like that's a
So
lot
what
of things.
happens?
The shredder spawns. An explosive sheep.
What?
Okay, Firebat lives.
Firebat lives, but it's...
Actually,
that's
he's
really...
got. Scenarios might just win the game anyway.
Druid of the Claw, charge, swipe. Ancient Lord, that's not it.
Actually, Ancient of Lore, if you get Swipe or Druid of the Claw, you win right away. Because you can innervate
but-
either of them
but
out, but it's
you're
so
dead.
risky. Yeah.
But you're dead.
Well,
So I don't think you want to do this.
no, it's not safe. But then you're dead to Consec if you play Scenario. Do you just heal yourself
He
with
didn't have
Ancient?
concept, so... Ancient of Lore heal? I
Yeah.
don't think that's a good option. It kinda buys one more turn for the Paladin, not for the Druid, I think.
I think Scenarios is still overall still the best play. It's only weak to something that would have already been played.
Two equality were played.
You've
And,
seen 2 equalities. There's only 1 consecration, I guess, that's left. If Thijs goes for the card draw, he has a pretty high chance of getting what he needs, though. So
But
we'll see.
card draw is so risky.
And he does it.
Why did he do this?
He
Oh,
actually
man.
didn't go for the safes, and I'm actually mind blown.
Yeah,
Even I,
don't know what
Nauseous,
happened.
would have done this.
I don't know what happened.
I would have healed myself over this.
I would just play scenarios over this.
I would have at least healed myself over this. He tried to go. He played the odds. He says, "I haven't seen a swipe. I haven't seen a Druid of the Claw all game. Those cards can win me the game right now if I get
I
them."
don't know, man. I don't know. It was
That
super
was
risky.
a
and-
really risky play.
Paladin had only one out. It was the consecration.
This was an absolutely weird finish
Yeah,
to this
I
game.
didn't suspect this at all.
I didn't think that would happen. I mean, I saw the play. I thought to myself, there's pretty good odds that he top decks 1 of 2 with 2 card draws and a deck that has about half of its things left. You're looking at a pretty high chance of getting it, but the problem is, if you don't hit, you lose right away. So the cost of doing this and not hitting is really, really high.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't even predict that Thijs is such kind of player that will go for this. I always thought that he's like, more conservative.
Yeah. So Firebat has actually lost his druid. He has locked his druid, and now he's played his his paladin. Sorry. So now with Firebat's paladin and druid being out of the window, he's got to go to his warlock.
Firebat was drinking from a Blizzard mug.
Was he really?
Like a
Is it the
10
BlizzCon championship mug?
Yeah, 10-gallon mug.
Yeah, that might be the one. I don't know.
Well,
Not for sure.
Thijs Druid, Firebat Warlock. This can be still a win for Thijs, but then he will be left with Druid against Warlock, and this is not an easy matchup. It's a coin flip, as you like to say.
Yeah,
But,
I think
yeah.
this is a pretty tough one, but I mean, he's got to do it. So Thijs is going for his Druid, and Firebat is going to be going for his, obviously, Warlock. So Thijs feeling pretty comfortable with Druid? As I said, I think it's one of the decks that he's the most comfortable with. Despite the last play that he made that I'm still confused over, I think he plays the deck excessively well.
Yeah, I agree with you, and that was a small misstep, I think, in the last game.
Yeah,
Like,
on the long course of good plays.
He had such an awful hand from the opening, from the start of the game. Like 2 Ravs, Innervate, Savage Roar. That had to feel awful for him.
Yeah, it's probably not exactly what he wanted to see at that point, because when you've got Wild Growth and Innervate, it's pretty good. But the problem is if you have no creatures to actually abuse the ramp, then suddenly the entire setup falls apart very quickly.
Yep. And we'll be jumping to the game really soon.
Yep. Handlock versus Druid used to be a really bad matchup for Druid, but then people switched to double combo, and things got better for it. And that's a playstyle that kind of stuck around.
But well, most of the Druid players are now sticking with 1 Force of Nature.
So that's actually a bit worse for Handlock against Handlock.
Yeah. So I have to see what's the outcome here. Like Firebat has a really great hand.
Yeah, he's got the Drake, he's got a Mountain Giant. That's what you want to get very early. Force the opponent to have BGH or the Drake or Keeper of the Grove to kill the Drake. And if they don't, then you just take the game from there.
No Wild Growth this time, and Harry St. John's being drawn. Well, this is kind of the draw.
Yeah, unless Jiraxis comes out, you're not going to see that being very useful. I mean, if that Drake comes out, this is going to demand an immediate answer, and then if the Giant follows up, or follows suit... Coin Giant, right? Everybody knows the famous Coin Giant play.
I bet some people did this.
You know what? You could innervate Giant, though. You couldn't Coin Giant, but you could innervate Giant. Think about that for a second. That's pretty crazy. Coining Drake is not too bad, but it forces... I mean, it risks just losing it to Keeper trade with a Shade. I still don't think that's a terrible play, though.
Do you attack with the... No, we don't attack. It's weak to Dark Bomb, then.
Well, Hellfire's coming around, so if you want to squeeze some points of damage, I think unstealthing it is still viable. And if he Dark Bombs, then he doesn't Drake nor Giant. So... I think it's a viable approach. Whoa!
He can still Dark Bomb with the coin.
So he's gonna coin Giant coin Dark Bomb.
Yeah. The other way around it wouldn't work.
Wouldn't work, yeah. Well, I think so.
Second Wrath. So you trade?
No, Wrath, Innervate, Keeper for 2. No, that doesn't work. You're out of mana. Alright, he's gonna be doing Wrath trade. So double Wrath, actually. That's kind of awkward. Oh, wow. Wait, does that give him...
Weak. That's super weak. Now it's vulnerable to Mortal Coil.
This is crazy bad luck for Thjs.
Why? No, it's not bad luck. He could have used the Keeper, the Wrath first, and then trade, and it wouldn't matter. And now that just puts him in an awful spot when the Mortal Coil is just, lethal to a creature.
Yeah, and I mean, Firebat has to play a Twilight Drake. The worst part is he's got 2, right? He's got another Drake. This one's gonna get taken out very easily by Keeper of the Grove and Hero Power, I think. Unless he wants to ramp up, but I don't think this is necessary right now. And the piloted Shredders and Sky Golems really force you to play around cards that aren't even remotely on the board.
Well, it doesn't seem to be a good match for Thjs here.
If he gets a BGH off the top, though, this could change everything. But yes, at the moment, this is not looking amazing.
Shadow Exilance, it's for 3 mana, but that's not it.
Yeah,
so...
Hellfire actually deals with it pretty well.
Scenarios?
Whoa, Scenarios is such a Hellfire... Oh, wow, that Hellfire value is going to be absolutely crazy.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Thjs is playing really risky this whole match.
I mean, if you Hellfire, do you trade with Scenarios afterwards? You could, really. I mean, you could even just Siphon Soul Scenarios and attack a 2/2.
Hellfire is still the best. best thing here.
Yeah, but you can't kill the 2/4 afterwards anyway.
Well, do you even care?
No, probably not.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a few lines of play that I'm considering, but I don't think you have to play Hellfire. Like the things you're really removing from it aren't the most mandatory things to take out. Like if BGH was there, you would have seen it. If he plays Black Knight, you give him the value. I really think just Siphon Souling Scenarios is fine. Alright, so Scenarios. Oh, Dr. Boom here.
Well, that's a really crucial draw for Thjs here.
Yeah, he must be pretty happy about that. Now, by just going face, he's kind of threatening a dangerous Savage War coming up. But Shadow Flame takes care of pretty much everything. Hellfire almost does. So Twilight Drake, Shadow Flame.
Yeah, I think that's the best.
What is if the boom bots hit the wrong targets, this is gonna be excruciating for Fire. And they kill the giant. What?
Holy
oh no, wait.
crap.
Okay, I thought he Shadow Flamed the giant.
Didn't he?
The Drake. He actually Shadow Flamed the giant to guarantee
Yeah.
the kill on boom.
Yeah, he did.
Okay, that was false hype, guys. False hype. I hyped myself for no reason. I thought he was gonna Shadow Flame the Drake.
I was kind of confused. What are you talking about?
Yeah. False hype. Bad caster. Alright, so you kill Lothab here. I mean, how does... Like, Thjs had a bad hand, I'll give you that, but how do you exactly recover from this without another fawn? Like, if you don't find your Force of Nature, you're not...
I don't think there's a way out.
There's no way out.
Now you have to use the hero power to kill the Drake and drop the Harrison Johns to make Lothab vulnerable to swipe.
Swipe, yeah. I think the drawback, the biggest problem with this board is you can't have anything that sticks against handlock.
Yeah.
Nothing you put down will stay there for longer than about a split second. Like, your Shade is dead to Hellfire here, if he wants to take it away.
Big Game Hunter, but for Firebat, you can land one to Thjs.
So, you attack Harrison, you Hellfire, Molten, Taunt. Alright.
Well, 2 reps were already used, so what do you do with that?
He started off with those cards in his hand, and that's not at all what he wanted to see when he saw them. So, I don't think it's gonna get better here.
Black Knight from the top on the Giant.
I mean, he's got Wild Growth, so there are 2 draws. If he does run Black Knight or BGH, either of them is possible. Wow, okay. Firebat playing it very safe.
So Wild Grove, and then you see if you draw into Force of Nature. If you do, then you have to keep her and kill the Lothab or silence
And then
him.
you're dead, though. Most of the time you're dead after that play, but that might be what you have to do. Actually, alternatively, you could Wild Growth and just throw the Drill the Claw into it.
Yeah, that's also okay.
Because, I mean, if you do find combo and the opponent doesn't heal up, then that's probably doable. Thjs has made some really interesting decisions these past few games.
Nation of Lore is not what you're looking for.
If you heal yourself, you're really not accomplishing much. If you don't heal yourself and you don't kill Lothab, then you're probably dead.
Now Thjs decides to heal himself.
What did that do more than using Drill the Claw? This is a 50-50 for Firebat. He's gonna
That's
take it,
game,
and
that's
we're gonna
game.
see... yeah, there's no way he can actually win, even if he does actually kill the 5-5 and not hit the face. And this is the face, so this will be another game for Firebat versus Thjs, going 3-1 in this series. Thjs making some really interesting decisions with his Druid deck, things that I wouldn't have done. And you
has
seem
big
to find it
balls, then.
questionable. Yeah, risky plays, very risky plays.
Yeah, it would have paid off with that Ancient of Lore, but I still think the scenario was way better. Paladin has only one way out from that.
Yeah, and if he had it, he would have already played it. So at that point, I think it would have been
Yep.
fine. So unfortunately, he's not going to be winning this game. Firebat is going to be taking. So that's the match for Firebat, and this concludes the last match of the day. Now this is an ongoing league, so we will be back next week. This is not over. There's 10 players in each of the two groups that they're seated in, and they have to fight off against each other. So the way that this works is that each week, what's going to happen is players will play a single game against a player in their group, and they will accumulate points. A win, obviously, is better than a loss. I don't have to tell you that. And then the top 3 players in each group will move on to the playoffs. The first player in each group will be directly in the semifinals, and the player who gets 2 and 3rd will actually move on to the quarterfinals, where they'll be getting a chance to get into the semifinals to fight the last matches. Players 4 to 7 will be re-invited for Season 2 of the Kinguin Pro League. So this is actually a very, very long-term event, and the 8th to 10th will be eliminated, and their spots will be open through open qualifiers for Season 2. So players can actually qualify through Kinguin qualifiers that will be announced eventually, and get, to fight some of the best players in Hearthstone at the moment.
Yeah, definitely agree. And this match concludes the first week of this league. So every group, every player in both of the groups has played one match. So we have 5 winners and 5 losers. And yeah, basically that's it for the first week. We will be doing 10 more matches in the upcoming week, also Tuesday and Thursday, and each Friday on this channel we will also have a recap of the whole week made by Colin Leslie and from Daily Dot. So even if you missed something, you will have highlights and interesting talks about the past week on this channel tomorrow, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Every Friday will be like a complete recap of the week. So if you missed anything, don't worry. If a friend missed anything, don't worry. He can just catch up on that. And it's going to be pretty interesting to get some analysis, with retrospect on what games happen, popular classes, perhaps, just really cool information about the tournament, the league that is. Since it's not just a tournament, it's an ongoing 10-week-long grueling battle, I guess you could say that, for the top spot, and there's over 25,000 in prizes.
Yep, agree. And if you want more information about the upcoming matches, you can also visit the Kinguin/Pro League URL, and they have all the information you want to find, like groups, schedule, and also information about the players themselves.
Yeah, I mean, and also I'd like to point out before we close this show, because this is probably the very end. This is the very end. We just seal our 5 matches. We have not spoken about it too much because this is not a charity event, but we are still working in conjunction with Child's Play. So if you're feeling like, donating to a good cause, you can still do it. We still keep track of the money that comes in. Everything goes to Child's Play Foundation, so that would be really nice. If you feel like making someone's day out there, it's a good cause. So this should be it for the day, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the matches today. We'll be back on Tuesday, same time. It's going to be 6 p.m. CET, which is, 12 noon EST. I don't know about all the time zones. I don't keep track of them in my head.
It's 9 a.m. PST, I think.
9 a.m. PST, that's right. So 9 a.m. PST, 12 EST, and 6 p.m. CET. So that's for the time zone. We'll be back every Tuesday, every Thursday until May 7th. We're going to be casting games with some of the top players. You've seen them all this week, and just stay tuned for tomorrow's recap by Callum Leslie. That should be kind of nice. So until next week, take care of yourselves.
Thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching.